You've seen the math. You know it's difficult. Do you still approach it as we still have a shot, so we got to play like we've got a shot? Like how do you view it?
Well, it's like we talked today in the meeting. It's a must-win. Is it Game 7? Pretty close. So Game 7 from tomorrow is our thought process. You got to win that game tomorrow, whatever it takes.
Rick,
That's
sorry.
No,
We
no.
haven't seen you for a while. Can you give us, first off, an update on Filipino? How serious is he doing? Is he done for the year?
Good days and bad days he's had. He'd go out and skate, felt good. The next day, not as good. So, to be honest with you guys, does he play this year? I mean, it's maybe the odds are against it. I mean, plus you don't want to put a guy in that type of position. But when a guy has good days and bad days, obviously, you're not going to play the guy.
Is there concern about his career?
I don't know, because I talked to him today, and he said it was different than his last concussion. The bad days aren't as bad, so that's a positive. So I think we got to take the positive approach. Plus, he's got 4 or 5 months to rebuild himself, or who knows? Like, you know what I mean? So you just got to take it day by day with this guy right now.
Elias Pettersson.
He skated, I think, once or twice. Didn't skate that hard. A little bit of discomfort.
Upper body or lower body?
Upper body.
Do you know how it happened or what? Yeah.
I think I always expect that, but like I said, it's day to day. When a guy's day to day, expect him to play. But I don't know, the discomfort level, where it's going to go.
If it were the playoffs, is the kind of thing maybe he could be an option?
That's a good question. If he had to play tomorrow, I don't know. It's a tough one.
Rick, how did it happen? I mean, we saw the face-off where he.
I think it was in the corner on a battle, something like that.
Hoglander?
Hoggy, he's biting at this guy's biting at this guy wants to play so bad. So he's got a red jersey, which is a good thing, but obviously no contact. But is he close? He's closer, I guess, than the other guys. But this guy wants to play so bad, so we got to be careful with that.
How's the flu bug?
It went through the road trip a little bit. Didn't hit the whole team at once, so it was pretty good. So I think it's gone.
How about Quinn? Last 3 games, maybe he hasn't been as effective, given his high standard of play, playing a ton of minutes. Like, do you feel like the load is wearing on him a bit?
Yeah, I had a good talk with him today. I think he knows he's got to play better, but I mean, we've leaned on the guy all year. Playing a lot of big minutes. A lot of times footy, we talk about it, can we dial it back a couple of minutes? We've talked about that, but, sometimes it's a lot of face-off, ozone face-off plays. You try to, the times on this, we try to make it's not so evasive, the power play. It's not like, those situations, he's not taking as many D-zone face-offs, so he doesn't get hit a lot. But saying that, yeah, we're do or die. So there's some times where there's situations like, man, we need him out there because he's that special a player.
How much do you relish the fact that 6 of your last 8 are at home?
Well, I like the way we've been playing at home. The records have been getting better at home, so that's a good thing. Obviously that's a tough trip, travel trip. So, this is like we got to bring the energy tomorrow. Use the fans, use all that stuff, whatever resources we can for this game tomorrow. But yeah, is it nice to be at home? Sure. But, you want to play well at home too.
People have really respected the job that you've done here, Rick. There's a report that came out today that said management has offered a contract. And I know you didn't really want to talk about it a month ago. Can you just shed some light on what things
Yeah, it's private. Like, me, I'm trying to be as honest as possible. I honestly am thinking, like, trying to, get this team in and, the direction, all that stuff, that's for another conversation, with Jim and Patrick. I mean, we go way back, so we'll have those conversations. But right now, I'm thinking of how do you beat Seattle. I really am. I know that people don't believe it. It's the truth. So, and, this is a great city. I walk around the city. It's a phenomenal city. The fans have been great. So, just say that. It's a great city. But there's some things that we'll talk about down the road, and it's not the right time right now.
So the report suggested that the club has exercised its option to bring you back next year, whether an extension is done or not. Has that been communicated to you?
At this point, it hasn't been exercised, but it's not. That's not because of Jim and Patrick. It will be communicated when it gets done. You know what I mean? So, and those guys have been great to me because they know I've been entrenched in this playoff drive. They've been great.
Rick, where are you with
Lecker Mackey? I know after the Jersey game you said, hey, like,
goal and the shootout goal, and you wanted to find ways to get him a little more ice time, and then you play these tight games, and you didn't play a lot in the third period in Winnipeg. Where are you sort of with this call-up, and do you want to get him more opportunities?
Yeah, of course. But we have, we got some pitfalls here. The team's working hard. I don't know where you want me to play him. You want me to play him in center? Okay. No, I'm just saying, what do you want? He's on the power play. He's a young kid. We got to be careful. We know what we're doing when it comes to young guys. I think you guys in the past were about the franchise of putting guys too quickly. I think so. I mean, we're not doing that. We're gonna, I think we're just gonna take our time there. It's the same thing with Pedersen. That's the same thing with Mancini. You got to marinate these guys. Got to give them some good times. You got to protect them. So we're protecting their confidence. I think they've done a hell of a job, these young guys, in this road trip. This is a good taste for these guys. And whether they play 10, 12 minutes, or I get them on a shootout, when I put them out there, I'll make those decisions.
Rick, do you learn anything about the group in the final 8 games?
Yeah. Who's all in and who's not. These 8 games you're going to see. I think the guy like I'll give you an example. Dakota's starting to play a little bit better. I mean, these are big 8 games for him. He can use that for going into next year. So these 8 games are important to me to see who's all in and who's not. 100%.
Building on that, what do you make of how this team has responded to all the injuries this year?
Well, I think like I said, there's been a lot of things that hit this team, and you're looking for culture stuff, right? Who's all in, who's not, and when you have a lot of guys all in, buying in, you can withstand some stuff. And I think we've done a pretty good job. Listen, this is for another conversation, what happened. But for the most part, I think a lot of guys have dealt with adversity pretty good here. So I got to give them a lot of credit, especially these young guys coming in. We have 5th or 6th youngest. I want this team, our players, to create a cocoon for these guys. This is important for these guys. I don't want these guys' confidence to get shattered. This is a big for them, these 8 games. So I want to make sure that I call it the shield, right? The culture shield, and we have to continue to build the shield around here.
Rick, in all of your time in the game, have you seen such a wild swing from one season to the next? Everything went perfect for you guys last year, right? No injuries. Guys had careers. This year, all of your key guys go down. Have you ever seen it be so drastic this way?
No, it's been a big swing, but you learn about you learn about yourself as a coach. You learn about players. I mean, you learn about it as a team, right? So we all got to look at ourselves and how do we get better. Like myself, but like I said, this is another conversation down the road. Like, what could I have done different? But at this point, all I'm thinking about is Seattle. I mean, it's a short term right now for me, and then we'll deal with all that other stuff down the road.
How valuable has Puce been to your team?
Yeah, he's been he's been a great story for I know he's been a positive story. We need positive stories around it. He's one of them. I think I told you guys he took the information in training camp and applied it. I know I said it again. I mean, we're in Winnipeg and I'm in the gym and he's in the gym. He's one of those guys that he's on the ice. I think he still might be on the ice shooting pucks. I mean, he's deserved what he's deserved this year because he's put the work in. So he's a positive story for us.
So given the uncertainty then at center ahead of him, and what's given him this opportunity, do you think it's important that he's part of the team beyond this season?
Well, when we have a conversation, obviously, when we set the round table and you look at what type of players you want, he's obviously a guy that I really liked. He's really helped me in a tough situation, right? When guys went down and stuff like that. He's been always a constant for me. So you always root for a guy like that, sure.
With the players that you've had called up from Abbotsford,
yeah.
What have you seen in the preparation that they've had with Manny Malhotra and his coaching staff that has made it an easier transition for them?
Yeah, I think Manny's done a terrific job. I mean, you got to remember down there, they get one day they're practicing power play, the next thing I got half their team up. And he doesn't complain. He, give me the next man up mentality. That's what the Miners do, and I think he's done a hell of a job down there. Carly gets called up, and he's kind of like, wow, he's improved. Lettermaki's been a couple times up and down. I think he's improved. Look at Pedersen, the young Pedersen, same thing. Some of the principles that I love, and Manny's, applied it down there. He comes up in here, and he's, getting close to being a big minute guy. But we got a lot of guys, those guys got a long way to go. And even a guy like Manny knows that, but he's definitely helped us get those guys ready for NHL games. It's a big.
You talk about the culture shield. Does that start 100%. In Abbotsford as well?
It starts from as soon as you draft a player, Vancouver Canucks. As soon as he puts a jersey on, and that's the way it's got to be. You know, you got to keep going forward. Whether you have a bad couple of months or you have a bad year, you got to have the constant. You can't switch every year. You know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You got to stay constant. I think that's something that we've talked about here, and I think we've done a pretty good job of the constant. But you know, it's taken a little bit of hit. But the Lettermackys and the Carlsons and Pedersen, those guys are a big part of this whole shield, I think, or culture shield, I call it.